Welcome back to the Abundant Practice Podcast. I'm your host, Allison Pereira, founder of Abundance Practice Building. I'm here with Amber Lyda, who I've known for years and years and years and years. And I'm very excited about this conversation because a lot of you are confused about how to get found on AI. Like if somebody's talking to ChatGPT about their problems and asking who they should see, which a lot of people are doing, how to make sure ChatGPT can find you. So Amber has been nerding out hardcore for months and months to learn this. And it's not like there's some clear playbook out there. Like she's been cobbling together information to make it make sense for therapists. So Amber, thank you so much for giving us the rundown. You're going to give us like a 30-minute rundown today, and then you're going to do a nice deep dive with us in the Abundance Party this month. So yay, yay. Hi.
Hello, good to see you.
You too. Yeah. So, okay. You and I were talking before we started recording that people listening to this may be all over the place with how they feel about AI.
Mhm.
So, should we kind of frame the conversation some?
I think that's a great idea.
Awesome.
You do not have to use AI or like AI to get recommended by AI.
Yes.
So if you're thinking, I don't want to contribute to, all of the ills of AI, if you see ills there, you don't have to. You just need to manipulate your website just a little tiny bit so that
Hmm.
AI can find you because your clients are looking to AI to find their recommended recommendations for therapists. They just are.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And can we talk a little bit about stats? Because I think a lot of people are probably like, well, not my clients.
Yeah, your clients for sure. Just if you don't use AI, just know this. A lot of people out there have naturally found that AI gives better recommendations than Google.
Hmm.
Google gives you lists and lists and lists of things that you then have to go click, explore, compare, choose. But when you look in AI, and I just did this recently to have somebody fix my car, I was like,
Hmm.
who is good at fixing sprinter vans that have been converted into camper vans, right? Like it's a very specific request.
Hmm.
I don't want to have to go through 5 pages of Google Notes. And it immediately gave me 3 to 5 people, not lists and lists of people. And these
Hmm.
people matched very specifically to the criteria that I put in. It's just
Hmm.
not something traditional search can do.
Yeah.
And so people are naturally gravitating to AI because it saves them time and it's, whether we like it or not, a little bit of a parasocial relationship. They
Hmm.
talk to their AI a lot. I use it
Yeah.
for recipes. I'll take a picture of what's in my fridge and be like, yo, what can I cook for dinner? And it's giving me good answers. So I
Hmm.
trust it more. It's actually, the stats on this are really interesting. It's 85%, if I'm remembering correctly, of people in the United States are willing to or have already been using AI of some kind to find providers, healthcare providers.
Hmm.
So they're going to the place where you need the most trust. Like, I want to find a gynecologist, and they're not
Hmm.
searching Google, they're searching
Right.
AI.
Right. Yeah.
It's pretty exciting, really. Like, it's an
Yeah,
opportunity for us.
it
This is an
is.
opportunity in a time of history where it feels like a lot is out of our control. Here's
Hmm.
something that's in our control.
And for those of us who really like to exert control,
Not, I
here's an
mean, not me.
opportunity. Not me at all. Never me. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, and I love this caveat that they don't have to love AI. They don't have to use AI to be found by AI. And if they are AI users, like you do kind of have maybe your own experiences searching for providers or information or recipes or whatever. So you know how it works a little bit. You know the importance of a prompt. You know these things. Can you talk to us about how AI understands our websites and other marketing strategies that we are using?
Yes, yes. Well, so when we think about our websites, what's always kind of frustrated me in teaching marketing is we're having to speak to two audiences historically. We're
Hmm.
having to speak to traditional search in Google. Our
Hmm.
header ones and our header twos and our alt text all has to say things that people are Googling in order for Google to recommend our website to them.
Hmm.
And then we also have to write copy that sounds good to our ideal client, so much so, especially if you're private pay, that they're going to be
Hmm.
like, that's my sole therapist.
Hmm.
Those things are hard to accomplish because the way Google likes to hear things and the way humans like to hear things are pretty different.
Yeah.
Then enter AI, and AI wants to hear things even a little bit more different than that.
Hmm.
So this becomes a little bit of a challenge of how the heck am I going to speak to three audiences at once?
Right.
So if you know how AI chooses whether to recommend you or not, and it's not recommending your website, it's recommending you, a specialty page about you, it
Hmm.
becomes a little bit easier to please all three of the audiences that you have to please. And my personal feeling is just create a freaking separate page to please
Hmm.
AI. It's just way easier. It also
Yeah.
pleases psychiatrists because it's super clear. It's boring. you like,
Uh-huh.
and anybody that doesn't want to read through fluff. But to understand how AI is looking, it is not ranking you the way that Google ranks you. And Google's ranking depends on a whole lot of stuff like domain authority, how long your site has been up, have you written 20 bajillion blog posts to demonstrate that you know what you're talking about. And over time, the things that Google valued became so hard to achieve that only companies like venture capital companies, for example, can put the money in to creating all of the content necessary to rank.
Hmm.
So then therapists are like, okay, how do I win at ranking with Google? So you have to get hyper niched so that there are fewer people competing. You're not just
Hmm.
doing therapy for anxiety, you're doing therapy for panic attacks that happen when I go out to dinner. Right. And
Uh-huh.
then still we can't compete. And so then we're like, therapy that happens for panic attacks when you go to dinner in Houston, Texas. Right. Like
Hmm.
it had to get tighter and tighter. AI is not working that way. AI, instead of ranking based on content, is first thinking, I need to eliminate anybody that I could get sued over for having recommended. They do not
Hmm.
want to be sued. So they're
Right.
thinking they need your license on your website somewhere. They need the
Hmm.
states that you're licensed to practice in. It will not recommend you if it does not say somewhere on your site that you're a licensed whatever practicing in this state because it wants to be sure that you're a
Hmm.
valid person to recommend. So the first part is all about elimination. If
Hmm.
you're not clearly able to be seeing those people licensed in that state, it's not recommending you.
Hmm.
It's also looking for, and this is great because I know you teach this, who the heck do you serve and how do you help them?
Hmm.
If you don't have a clearly quotable statement somewhere on your specialty page, for example, of I help women in perimenopause, in
Hmm.
Vero Beach, Florida, for example, if you don't have that level of specificity, it's not going to rank you. It's not,
Hmm.
excuse me, it's not going to list you. And then the third piece is if you don't say who you don't treat, because it wants to know that you have a clear scope. And
Right.
if you're not saying, like, hey, if you're in psychosis, if you're actively at risk, if you're, whatever the heck it happens to be for you, if you're looking for CBT, if you're looking to phone a friend, if you don't list those things, it's like, yeah, I'm not super sure you know who you see. So I'm not going to put you in
Hmm.
front of them.
Hmm.
Step one's
Okay.
all about elimination.
I love that. Okay, questions about this. Does having good SEO help with AI optimization?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the structure that SEO is built on does help.
Okay.
The extras that we do so basically the structure being be freaking clear. Who do you
Hmm.
help? How do you help them?
Yeah.
Put it at least up in the top third of
Hmm.
each page, the stuff that we generally do for SEO.
Right.
Your H1s and H2s don't matter all that much. So you can
Hmm.
leave in fact, please leave those as is. If you've
Uh-huh.
been accumulating SEO, please don't go and change your headers and subheaders. And then suddenly, you're mad at us because your SEO is starting all over again. You can
Hmm.
just build this into the body of the text. That's totally fine. But the extra bells and whistles that SEO requires, like a billion blogs, for example, don't matter. You don't have to do
Okay.
that.
And then the page that we create for AI, does that need to be a menu item or can it be kind of like some of the SEO blogs that people write that aren't in a menu anywhere? They're just kind of tucked away.
Yeah, right now, and this is evolving, right? So, right now, it's important that it is a clickable link and
Hmm.
it should be listed at least in a drop down. So, you know
Okay.
how we sometimes have that drop down of like all the extra stuff that just
Yeah.
doesn't fit or cut? Have it there and
Okay.
also connect it to your specialty pages.
Hmm.
That just gives it a little extra vavoomp. And
Uh-huh.
you don't have to jump straight to having a separate page. You can
Hmm.
easily just do these few steps now with what you've got and, iterate over time.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. What next? What else do we
Okay.
need to be thinking about?
So we've eliminated people, like,
Uh-huh. Love
they're
it.
gone. And now we're looking to group similar types of providers.
Hmm.
So let's say one of my coaching clients does a lot of work with women who have chronic pain, pelvic floor chronic pain. Well, there's not a whole lot of other people out there doing what she does. So when it
Hmm.
goes to collect all the people who might be a resource, it's then going to look at the few people left and think, okay, which one of these is the best match? This part is so cool because in terms of collecting people, it's like, okay, we've eliminated these folks. Okay, these are people with similar specialties. It prioritizes empirically supported treatments. So if you do CBT, this is a time to list CBT.
Hmm.
Again, they don't want to get sued. This does not mean you don't get to do what you want to do, but if you happen to be trained in an empirically supported modality, not a
Hmm.
bad idea to put it on there. And then it's just going to see who's the best fit. And the way that we're looking for this is some clients are going to log in. They're going to be like, I need a therapist who helps with blah, blah, blah issue, who's not just going to nod their head and be silent. I don't want a neutral therapist. They don't put
Hmm.
this in Google, but they put this
Right.
in AI. And
Hmm.
AI is going to be scrolling through your whole website looking for, do you say anything about that? Do you say your
Hmm.
directive? Do you say that like you give your opinion? It wants to know
Hmm.
that it's contextual and it will
Yeah.
base match on those kind of qualities.
Hmm. That's interesting. I love that. Because, yeah, like you said, people are so much more descriptive into AI. They are telling them their exact problems. It's not like when they're going in Google and like how to stop a panic attack, you
Right.
know? They're like, oh, I had a panic attack today at work, and it was mortifying. And I've got to make it stop. And I don't like, I've done these 7 things and none of them have worked. And I think it's time for therapy. Who should I see? Um,
Exactly. Exactly.
so
And now, I don't know if you saw the news recently, but we'd already seen AI shift from giving all the health advice in the world, including
mhm,
mental health advice, to limiting how much it would give. And now it's
mhm,
limiting even more by law.
mhm,
So it's much less likely to engage in a whole lot of chatter about mental health issues and more likely to say, at this point, it would be helpful for you to find a therapist. So it's
yeah.
prompting them. It's like a
Hmm.
referral coordinator, is really how it functions. A really
Yeah.
good referral coordinator.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we're eliminating people.
We've
We
eliminated
are making sure that we are,
grouping.
yeah, we are grouping. Um, what else can we be doing?
And then we're matching. So
Oh,
those are the
matching.
three
Mhm.
steps: eliminate,
Okay,
group, match.
match. Hmm.
So the eliminate, you know what to do there so that you at least, that's if you do nothing else after this podcast, just make sure you don't get eliminated. Take those few steps to list the things. I also have a freebie that I'm giving you guys with the
Oh,
five
amazing.
steps you need to do to not get eliminated. We
Okay, we'll
covered
put those in the
three.
show notes, y'all. Yeah.
And then if you think about the more specific you can get, just
Hmm.
like we talk about with copywriting when you're trying to get private pay clients, the more specificity, the more you're speaking to their soul,
Hmm.
the better your chances are at getting that client.
Hmm.
And AI works very similarly. It wants to know as much specific information as possible.
Hmm.
So it doesn't want to hear vague things like, I help people who are feeling overwhelmed.
Hmm.
Okay, there's like a jillion people out there saying that. And that's
Yeah.
probably not all that your client is putting into ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever they're using.
Hmm.
They're probably saying, like, I'm laying in bed at night and I cannot stop going over the day. And I'm
Hmm.
ruminating about whether I pissed off my boss, whether I hurt my daughter's feelings, whether, my husband's mad because I didn't do XYZ, whatever the heck. The
Hmm.
more examples you have on your website of what your ideal client might be going through on a daily basis, the better the
Yep.
chances you're going to have at rocking with AI and landing that client.
Right. And I love this because I mean, this is the folks who've been in the party. Like I've been teaching this since 2017 that you need to have like their daily lived experience laid out. What are the things they're thinking? With eating disorders, they change clothes 12 times before they leave the house and they still
Oh,
feel like a whale. Like you put that level of specificity and somebody is like, holy shit, does she have cameras in my house? You know,
exactly.
like how does she
Exactly.
know? And so like basically what I'm hearing is with this one, what works for great marketing, it doesn't just market to the human beings we're trying to get, but it also helps AI know we know what we're talking about and that
That's exactly
we
right.
know the clients that are asking them questions.
Exactly. Exactly. And then the little caveat I would give to that is, we can sometimes get a little poetic when we're really like
Yeah.
in the down and dirty about like their
Uh-huh.
lived experience, right? So have the lived experience. And I would say like 3 to 5 examples of pain points that they're
Mm-hmm.
experiencing, 3 to 5 examples of the way they wish things would be or their hope points. Ooh, remind me to talk about bridge copy in a second. And
Okay.
then above each of those like lists, make sure you have a very clear summary sentence. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I help people like you who are struggling with anxious, ruminating thoughts, blah, 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 clear. And
Mm-hmm.
the lived experience examples, because AI works like humans work in terms of specificity, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes humans like it to be a little bit more zhuzhed up copywriting. And
Mm-hmm.
AI is like, what are we even saying? Just give it to me
Right.
straight. Like, what
I
exactly are
like
we talking about
prose,
here?
please. Yeah.
Right. Think about it, like a slightly on the spectrum psychiatrist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the psychiatrist does not want a ton of mushiness. They're like,
Right.
just what do you do? Like, tell me
Mm-hmm.
what you do. So at those two elements really, really rock. And then the other piece, the bridge copy. So I call it bridge copy. I don't know what other people call it, but how do you help? What do you
Mm-hmm.
do? It's not going to be enough to say something like, I hold a sacred space, and it's safe here to open up, and I'm non-judgmental. That's not going to do it. That's
Mm-hmm.
not going to do it, because anybody without a license can say those exact same things.
Right.
So you can have some of that in there, but you need to be even more clear. So for
Mm-hmm.
example, if your whole life you couldn't do anything just right for your parents, and no matter how hard you tried, you always felt like they were slightly disappointed, it's going to make sense that in your adult life, you're also feeling like you can never quite get it just right. Our past impacts our present. And in therapy together, we're going to help you understand how the things that you learned growing up are showing up in your life right now. Blah, 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 blah. Right. Like we're just
Mm-hmm.
outlining our therapeutic model in normal
Yeah.
people speak.
And I
It
would
loves
imagine
that.
like it would also be helpful, and tell me if I'm right or wrong, but like to build credibility in a warm way there,
Exactly.
right? Like I've spent 20 years
Oh,
helping,
yeah.
like as a therapist, I spent 20 years as a therapist helping people do this thing that they want to do, right? That AI would probably be like, ding.
Exactly right. Right.
Okay.
So you're pointing out credibility,
Hmm.
and AI loves credibility. So
Hmm.
this is one of the reasons we have a bit of an advantage over big platforms. They can't get specific enough. They
Hmm.
can't claim licenses.
Hmm.
So AI tends not to recommend big companies. I won't name names, but you know
Right.
who I'm talking about.
Neither of us want one of those cease and desist letters they like to
Right. No,
send.
no, thank
But the
you.
big therapy tech, we know, right, y'all?
Right. If you know, you know, we all know.
Hmm.
It won't recommend them yet. And I'm hoping that that stays the same. I just got excited about that. So I totally lost my train of thought. Bring me back. Bridge copy. Yes.
Hmm.
How you help, then credibility. So
Hmm.
listing how long you've been in practice. For a while, we were like, don't do that because people aren't into like that part anymore. They're not into credentials.
Hmm.
AI is into credentials. It wants to
Right.
know, where'd you go to university? It wants to
Mhm.
know, how many years were you trained? If you have an affiliation with any big institution, like let's say you went to University of Florida, list that somewhere on your website because
Hmm.
it likes it. It's like, oh, okay, you're fancy pants. All right, that gives us some credibility. You can
Hmm.
think about it. Here's a shortcut. If you think you picked up a client, they came to you through AI,
Hmm.
and something horrible happens with that
Hmm.
person, and the family sues AI.
Hmm.
AI wants to be able to be like, listen, they said that they did this treatment. That's the treatment they're supposed to do. They said they were licensed. They said they were licensed in that state. They said that they practiced 20 years. It wants to be able
Hmm.
to defend the recommendations that it's giving. So
Right.
if you hold that in your mind, it starts to tell you what kind of things to have on the website.
Hmm. And so you were saying you can put it all on one page. Does it still suit to have like those things woven in on an about page?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It really likes it to, if you have one page, it just makes it easier to hit all of the things that you need to hit without like gobbledygooking up the rest of your website. But it
Hmm.
does look for consistency across your website, across social media, just a little
Hmm.
bit of a pain, but if you have like a side hustle and a practice, but there
Right.
are
Amen.
workarounds, right? There are workarounds. but it wants to see, if you have that one statement of these are the sort of people that I help and this is how I help them, and you have a Facebook business page, copy and paste, have that
Hmm.
same statement or something very similar on that
Right.
social media account. It wants consistency across.
And that's a really different thing than SEO, which will ding you for having the same exact copy.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep.
Fun.
Yep. We, we get to fight between these two things. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What else do we need to think about that we haven't talked about yet? I mean, I know there are a million things that we're not going to be able to go over in 30 minutes, but
Yeah. I think if I would just urge you guys to take action now
hmm.
in a really sweet window of opportunity. And I think, like any kind of search engine, things will eventually get monetized because that's how our particular culture works. But
Hmm.
right now, that's not how AI is working. There aren't
Hmm.
ads there yet that we're competing with. Big tech can't beat us there. We have this opportunity, and I would get in while we can because
Hmm.
AI and human referrals are
Yeah.
basically where we can win right now.
Yes.
So
And
focus
we'll
your time.
continue to win. I mean, like the human referrals, like you and I have talked about this, like that's going to be our lifeblood as an industry, I think.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
like I know, for instance, my private practice clients are 100% talking to AI. Like they're talking to their business coaches and their business owning friends and AI. They're not going to Google search for a therapist. Like that's just
No,
not going to be a thing. They're not going to go on Psych today to try to find a therapist. But they
no. And
are, go ahead.
speaking of Psych today,
Yeah.
I know like there's a lot of chatter about I'm not getting clients from Psych today and Psych
Hmm.
today sold out and da da da. Yes, yes.
Hmm.
And they are seen as a credibility source
Yep.
when it comes to both SEO and to AI search.
Hmm.
So that $30 a month or however much it is, it's the one directory that actually has very high organic SEO and paid for SEO. And your
Hmm.
name attached to it helps you,
Yeah.
even if the clients aren't coming directly through there.
Yep. I created a Psych today for my practice for the first time in years for AI.
Right. Right.
Like I was like, nobody's gonna go on Psych to none of my people are going on there. Like I know that, but they are telling a lot of things to Claude or Chat or
Yep.
Perplexity. So
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
amazing.
Absolutely. You and I talked in text about one more
Hmm.
little sneaky tip. Like
Yes,
this is
and
a
I'm
high
still, I
level
was
tip.
like, I've got to talk to, I'm still confused. Yeah.
Well, I think we're at that stage where there are a few things we know for sure. And then there are things we're starting to think like, okay, maybe we're going to have to feel
Hmm.
this out. This is going to evolve over time. But, blogs have been fantastic for SEO for a long, long time.
Hmm.
And we've been wondering about like, well, what about AI? Does AI like us to blog? And anything that generally moves your SEO up is also going to move your AI search up, right?
Hmm.
But the unfortunate thing about blogs is AI is so good at reading and summarizing that
Hmm.
while it's helping your overall findability, it's unlikely to be like, you know what, you should see this therapist because read this blog and
Hmm.
send them to your blog. No, it's going to summarize a blog. It's probably not going to give you credit for it unless somebody asks.
Hmm.
So this isn't to say don't do them. It's just to say maybe consider making a little video based on the blog
Hmm.
and put that video on YouTube because that helps both with your SEO, both with AI search, and it will link to a video, even if it won't link to a blog.
Okay, got it, got it.
Little high tier hack.
But it's not, from what I understand, because I was actually having a conversation with AI trying to understand it. It's not like it's reading the content of the video, but it's reading the captions that you create, the
Correct.
title, those kinds of
Yes.
things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's how it's
And
deciding to send somebody there to watch it, but it
mhm,
can't summarize the video the way that it would summarize a blog so
right.
far.
Got it. Okay.
Maybe
This
next
makes
month.
sense. Maybe, right. I mean, it's so fast. It's all
It's
going so
super fast.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. So we get to dig in more in the Abundance Party this month. And I am so psyched to learn more because, like what you told us today, everybody could literally do this today. Like, this is
Right
not
now.
something that's going to take a week to get done. People can just hop on their website, devote an hour or two, knock it out.
Yep.
There's
Literally an
not,
hour.
yeah,
Literally an hour.
there's
Take the
not
little
much.
worksheet, check the
Yeah.
things, and you're done.
Yeah. There's so little in our practice that will move the needle like this. I mean, this is
Right.
like getting in TikTok or doing SEO 15 years ago. Like this is like
Exactly.
now is the time, y'all. And
Now
that's
is the
another
time.
question. Um, I'm so full of questions with you.
I'm
You
so
know so
glad.
much. I love it. But like I think about the people who built really great SEO 15 years ago, and those guys are still top of the, well,
Mm-hmm.
except for like today, but they're still top of the list for independent practices for the most
Mm-hmm.
part.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they've not like continued blogging every week for years. Is this like, is getting in early? Do we think that's going to have the same kind of advantage with AI that's like lasting, or is
That's
AI
my
too?
gut.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
gut feeling, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But for
May as well
me, it's
try.
like, yeah, why waste this opportunity? It's
hmm
here. We know it's going to help you now. Seems
hmm
likely based on history that it will continue to help you in the future, just like getting in early with TikTok or SEO helped you.
hmm
So hopefully it's not a clubhouse where people
Right.
jumped in there and it just went
Fizzles
away. But
out.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Amazing. Okay, thank you so much, Amber.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. And thanks for that freebie. I'm
You
sure that's
got
gonna
it.
get
I'm
downloaded a
excited to go
lot.
deeper in your program as well.
Yeah,
It's
for sure.
got a lot of
For
cool
sure.
stuff.
Yay. Awesome. Well, I will talk with you soon.
All right. Bye, friends.
Bye.